Here's question 18. We have x plus 3 times x minus 2, all divided by x plus 1 is greater than 0. Alright, so here's our rational expression, and what we're going to do is we're going to look at each factor when each factor is equal to 0, because that's going to be an important turning point. Okay, so x plus 3, we set it equal to 0, and when that's equal to 0, then that means that x is equal to negative 3. When x plus 2 is equal to 0, that means that x is equal to 2. What I've done here, I've just added 2 to both sides. When x plus 1 is equal to 0, if you subtract 1 from both sides, you get x equals negative 1. Alright, so we have 3 important turning points. Alright, let's put those on the number line. So here's our negative 3, here's our negative 1, and here's our 2. So here's when x is equal to negative 3, when x is equal to negative 1, when x is equal to 2 on the number line. And that divides our number line up into 7 regions. Okay, the region less than negative 3, the region equal to negative 3, the region between negative 3 and negative 1, the region equal to negative 1, the region between negative 1 and 2, the region equal to 2, and the region greater than 2. Okay, so I've colored them all in, and here's our chart. We're looking at the values of x, for x plus 3, for x minus 2, for x plus 1, and the whole rational expression, which is x plus 3 times x minus 2 over x plus 1. We're looking at these values when x is less than negative 3, when x is equal to negative 3, when x is between negative 3 and negative 1, when x is equal to negative 1, when x is between negative 1 and 2, when x is equal to 2, and when x is greater than 2. Okay, notice these color-coded regions correspond to the regions on the number line. Alright, so when x is less than negative 3, for example, when x is negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1, so the x plus 3 is going to be negative when x is less than negative 3. When x is equal to negative 3, that gives us 0. Okay, when x is between negative 3 and negative 1, for example, negative 2 plus 3 is 1, so that's positive. When x is equal to negative 1, that gives us negative 1 plus 3 is 2, which is positive. When x is between negative 1 and 2, for example, when x is 0, this expression is 3, and that is positive. When x is equal to 2, 2 plus 3 is 5, so the expression is positive. When x is greater than 2, positive. When we're now looking at x is less than 2, sorry, x minus 2, when x is less than 3, so you have negative 4, let's say, minus 2 is negative 6, which is negative. When x is equal to negative 3, we get negative 5, which is negative. When x is between negative 3 and negative 1, for example, when it's negative 2, that gives us negative 4, which is negative. When x is equal to negative 1, we get negative 3, which is negative. When x is between negative 1 and 2, when it's 0, for example, that's negative 2, which is negative. When x is equal to 2, that makes this expression 0. When x is greater than 2, for example, when it's 3 or 4, that gives us a positive value. Okay, like 3 minus 2 is 1, which is positive. All right, now for x plus 1, when x is less than negative 3, for example, when it's negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3, which is negative. When x is equal to negative 3, that gives us negative 2. The expression becomes negative 2, which is negative. When x is between negative 3 and negative 1, for example, when it's negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1, which is negative. When x is equal to negative 1 plus 1 is 0, so the expression is 0. When x is between negative 1 and 2, for example, when x is 0, 0 plus 1 is 1, which is positive. When x is equal to 2, 2 plus 1 is 3, which is positive. When x is greater than 2, like when it's 5, for example, 5 plus 1 is 6, which is positive. Okay, now for the whole rational expression. Okay, so we have the x plus 3 times the x minus 2. So we have a negative times a negative, which is positive, divided by a negative, which is negative again. All right, well, we have 3 negatives. Okay, odd number of negatives gives you a negative. Okay, here we have 0. Times anything else is 0, divided by anything other than 0, of course, is 0. So in the third region, we have a positive times a negative, so the numerator is negative, divided by negative is a positive. And then we have a positive times a negative, which is negative, divided by 0. Division by 0 is undefined. Here we have a positive times a negative, which is negative, divided by a positive is negative again. Here we have a positive times 0, divided by a positive is 0. Okay? Because the numerator becomes 0. Here we have a positive times a positive divided by a positive is positive. So let's transcribe those signs to this region. Whoops. So we have, here I'm about to run out of time in part 1 of question 18, so stay tuned for part 2. Have a good day.